Thanks for joining us this Friday here on WLOX News Now at 10. Topping our news tonight, we're continuing our coverage of a shooting that happened in Ocean Springs last night, sending multiple people to the hospital. The man police believe is responsible remains behind bars at this hour. Stephanie Poole has the latest developments.
Independence Day turned crime scene on Cumberland Road in Ocean Springs. Officers arrested 68-year-old Henry Williams Andre for allegedly firing into a 4th of July celebration, leaving 7 people injured.
Everybody was kind of in the backyard just mingling amongst themselves. All the victims are stable. The investigation is still ongoing.
Sergeant Parker Bork tells WLOX Andre faces 4 counts of aggravated assault. Police say neighbors were hosting the party and began lighting fireworks. They added Andre fired a bird shot into the crowd multiple times, striking partygoers. 4 people were sent to the hospital.
Arms, legs, chest, and somewhere in the face as well.
Ocean Springs Chief Ryan Lemaire said Andre refused to give a statement to the police. His motive leading to the shooting is unclear.
We still have a lot of other victims and witnesses to speak to, so to get a clear story about actually what happened and what occurred.
Andre could face more charges as the investigation develops. In Ocean Springs, Stephanie Poole, WLOX News Now.